Hello, and welcome to my presentation on awareness and action, helping children cope with depression. This will be an interactive presentation, so you will have opportunities to add comments and answer questions if you choose. So as we get started, I want you to meet Sarah. This is Sarah. She's 18. She suffers from depression. I am Sarah's mom, and I miss the signs. So here's the table of contents for this presentation. The first section will be your story. What is your experience with children and depression? The second section is what is it? How does depression manifest in children? The third section is what are action steps teachers can take today? And the fourth section is let's act by creating an environment to support children who suffer from depression. So in order to use VoiceThread to respond to the questions, you will just have to, if you would like to text your response, you're going to click on the plus sign that's going to be at the bottom and middle of your slide, and then text your response. You'll see like an ABC that you can click on. If you want to video your response, you're going to click on the plus sign and choose the camera, and then we'll be able to see you as you respond. If you choose to audio, like I'm doing right now, you can use your voice and click on the microphone icon to respond. So here's a few things that I learned from Sarah. I learned that I needed help. I couldn't fix Sarah's problems by myself, or really maybe not at all. And I needed help, and I needed also to recognize that there was a problem. I also learned that I need to listen and pay attention and listen better. So, a tip would be to pay attention and listen to your children, your students, even if their behavior isn't matching what you typically think of as depression. And that was part of the issue with Sarah. I just didn't recognize the signs. Section 1 is about your story. We all have a story to tell, and we can learn a lot from each other. One in 6 children ages 2 to 8 years old has a mental, behavioral, or developmental disorder. And that number goes to 1 in 5, depending on the situations and the economic level of the families of the children. Hi, so what is your experience? How have you helped students or children who may suffer from depression? Or if you haven't yet, how would you? What kind of steps would you take to help a child who is suffering from depression? So depression is the leading cause of disability in people ages 15 to 44. Depression is why someone dies of suicide every 12 minutes, the main reason. Depression is a chronic health condition, and 70% of children have not had sufficient intervention for depression. The good news is teachers can really help. Here's a few tips. Listen to what your students are saying, or your children in my case. Pay attention to what they're saying to each other. Stop bullying of any kind. Girls bully in relationships, so just be aware of that. It's not the same way boys bully. Create a classroom that is kind, tolerant, and anti-racist. What are some other tips that you have? This is a picture of Sarah in the emergency room the first time that she was diagnosed with a major depressive disorder. So in this section, first of all, what are signs of depression in children? And then you can see my Bitmoji is saying, how did I miss this? So I think I said this multiple times already, but being aware is key. Listening carefully to what children are saying and being aware of how depression can present itself is extremely important. Here's a chart from the CDC showing depression, anxiety, and behavior disorders by age. And as you can see from the chart, depression and anxiety increase with age, and behavior problems are more prevalent in the 6 to 11 age group. Here are some signs that your child or student might be depressed. Sadness that lasts most of the day, more cranky and irritable than usual, an inability to have fun doing things that used to be fun to them, regressing in behavior, acting younger than their age, feeling tired all the time for no medical reason, trouble sleeping through the night, changes in appetite. However, please remember that not all children display the same signs. Depression isn't one thing. Depression doesn't usually occur from one event or situation, but it's a series of events or situation. So it could be a significant life event like the death of a loved one, moving, a parent's divorce, many other things. It could be stress from school, from athletics. It could be a chronic illness, and it could be bullying. So how can these symptoms be missed? What can we do to be more aware of these? Here are some other symptoms of depression in children and adolescents: acting sad, frequently crying, changes in sleep, changes in appetite, lack of energy, diminished attention, concentration, lack of interest in events and hobbies, and a sense of helplessness or hopelessness. So at this point, I'm going to break everyone out into sessions, and each of you will have in your sessions, in your breakout sessions, a topic to explore. So we have major depressive disorder, bullying and depression, anxiety and depression, ADHD and depression, and depression and behavior issues, disorders. And each of these topics are also linked to a resource. However, I encourage you to find your own resources as well. I'm also going to have you working in a shared Google Doc during your breakout session. This is Sarah's graduation picture. She graduated from high school this past June. And some things I've learned are saying cheer up doesn't work. Also, Sarah had a series of things happen to her. She has a chronic illness of epilepsy. She was being bullied at school by friends who were pretending they were having seizures and saying that they were her. And her parents were going through a divorce. She was changing homes. So she had many, many factors that played into her depression. But mostly what we found out was that Sarah felt helpless. And this is something that one of her therapists had pointed out. And then we realized that we had to help Sarah not feel helpless. And she's been able to do many, many things since that time, and just one story to share with you. So it is important to recognize the levels of depression and to also know when to get help. Is this just a stage? Sometimes, a lot of times I would tend to hope that something is a stage and it's going to pass by. But sometimes if it's consistent and things don't change, we can tell then that it's probably not a stage and we need to seek more help. So you can communicate with other teachers, the guidance counselor, family members, and of course the student. So I want you to create your own infographic about helping children who are coping with depression in your classroom. And think of this quote right here. Sometimes real superheroes live in the hearts of small children fighting big battles. And another thing to consider is, why is depression on the rise in young children? So here are some action steps for teachers. Collaboration. Develop a working and collaborative relationship in your classroom with the families, with the students, and with other teachers. Be positive. Avoid negative techniques such as timeout and punishment. Find ways to provide positive guidance. Self-esteem. Find activities that promote self-esteem. Talk about self-esteem. Create a classroom where the students build up each other's self-esteem. Accommodate. Make adjustments to assignments and activities. If a student is really struggling with depression, they're not going to be able to do things the same as they could have before. So keep those things in mind. Success. Give plenty of opportunities for a child to succeed. Set goals. Show them their success. Talk about success. And celebrate. Celebrate small goals. Encourage support and love in your classroom. I'm listening now. I'm more aware as a teacher, as an educator. And so section 4 is more actions that we can create a supportive environment for young children combating depression. And that's me and Sarah. Family support. Find ways to work with families. Teachers can work to build positive relationships with families, offering support and encouraging collaboration. Here's a quote I found. Children are the priority, change is the reality, collaboration is the strategy. We can accomplish much when we collaborate with each other. And who better knows their children than the family? So respect and validate families and work with families to support children. So one specific strategy you can do is create a yes environment. So creating a yes environment provides positive interactions and guidance to children. You can create a catchphrase for your classroom to support positive interactions. For examples, mistakes help us learn, or explore, dream, discover. So I want you to think about a catchphrase that either you use in your classroom or one that you can use to create this yes environment. And this also goes along with the growth mindset and this whole idea of not yet, but if we keep trying, we can accomplish it. So if you click on our Padlet page, you just have to double click and either drag and drop something to the page or type in your response. And I'm going to link it on the side of this slide as well. Create a growth mindset jar. Ask children to write down their goals of things they want to learn but haven't yet. You can actually create a Padlet page and do this virtually as well. Also, every time someone says something negative, ask them how they can turn it into a positive and add it to the jar or the Padlet page. So it can be a growth mindset Padlet page if you're doing this virtually. So if you want to respond to this slide about things, goals that you would have in your mindset, growth mindset jar, that would be great. The third strategy is to remind them you are a team. So see your classroom as a team supporting an environment where young children thrive. Create a sense of belonging. We all want you to learn, and we all share our knowledge and skills. Share vulnerabilities. It's okay to make mistakes. It's how we learn. Having a shared purpose or vision, using catchphrases. We're a team. Everybody has something to share. These are all ways that we can really help build a positive and supportive classroom. Okay, thank you. If you have any questions or suggestions, please send them my way, drlauramclaughlin@gmail.com. And I used SlidesGo for this presentation, and it was awesome, and it's free. So I would ask that you take 2 minutes to complete this short evaluation survey to let me know how you thought this presentation went, one thing you can put into action right now, and anything else I can use to improve. Also, here's some links to other resources to help. 6 ways teachers can help children fight depression, how to teach children self-regulation skills, and a link to CDC resources on children and depression. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye.